Hi, this is Adrienne Godfrey here at LHS, class of 99. We're outside Judge Lemon's courtroom, the People's Court, day 4, where the state versus Eddie Jenkins. He's accused of third-degree misdemeanor assault. Let's go inside and see what's going on.
All right. The Honorable Judge Lemon presides. This is the case of the state versus Eddie Jenkins. You may be seated.
State versus Eddie Jenkins is now in session. Defense, you can call your first witness.
Your Honor. Your Honor, I believe the prosecution would like to cross-examine Mr. Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins, approach the stand.
Excuse me, could you please check with the prosecution?
Is that okay with you, prosecutor?
Yes, y'all.
Eddie? Yeah. Still on the oath now, don't you?
I know.
Proceed.
Mr. Jenkins, in your testimony, you stated, I never saw the cartoon, but I was told by a friend of mine that it showed me falling asleep while I was calling signals through a game against Springfield, which is the arch rival. Instead of going on hearsay, Mr. Jenkins, why couldn't you have asked Mr. Warren, was it true or not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes or no, sir? Can we have a yes or no answer, please?
Yes, no. Yes. I don't know. Seem to answer the question.
Better yet, why couldn't you have asked Mrs. Owens, the school newspaper director, if it was true that the cartoon Mr. Bourne drew about you was something of that nature?
She didn't see it.
I didn't ask you that.
Why didn't I ask her? I just didn't ask her.
Did you ever threaten Mr. Bourne on the day that you confronted him about the cartoon drawing?
Never.
Did Mr. Bourne laugh when you told him that it was pretty mean that he drew the cartoon strip and that the cartoon would not be liked by the rest of the football team?
He said he thought it was funny, and I told him it wasn't. And I told him my teammates wouldn't think it was funny either. And that's all. He walked off. He was scared.
Okay, I asked you yes or no, so you're saying yes?
Yes, what?
I asked you yes if he laughed when he walked away.
He did not laugh. No, he didn't.
So you're saying he did not laugh?
That's what no means.
Okay. Who's the friend that told you about the cartoon?
Can't remember. My friends at school. And my best friend. What's his name? What's the dude's name? Oh boy. My friend told me and the people at school was talking about it.
After you saw that Mr. Bourne was not moving when he, in your testimony, fell down the steps, what did you do?
I ran down the steps and see if he was okay.
And did you see anyone else on the staircase?
Nope.
What about the comic strip that made you so upset How do you know that the comic strip was meant for you? It could have been meant for the whole team, not just one person.
It
It was
wasn't.
supposed to be singled out. How do
It
you know?
wasn't funny at all.
I
Whether
didn't
the
ask you
team,
that.
school, or me, it wasn't funny. Like that.
You were arrested on December 19th at 4:00 p.m. Were you or were you not?
They got me.
In your testimony, Mr. Jenkins, you said, I guess he lost balance and fell down the steps. You put your hand out to reach him. Is that true?
Yes, I did.
You guess?
Yes, I did.
No, I'm saying you guess that this is what happened to
I
him.
guess he lost his balance.
So you don't know for sure what happened to him.
You don't know for sure. He could have just been clumsy.
Mr. Jenkins, do you know many people that are angry take their anger out on other people, even though the person they thought did something and it was only hearsay?
Yes, and I know if a person is scared, he tends to not know what he's doing when he's doing it.
So you're saying he just slipped and fell?
That's what I'm saying. He was scared. And so he didn't think before taking his step.
Did Mr. Rowan ever turn around when he was going down the steps?
He jerked as though he was turning around, but after, it's too late.
No further questions.
Defense. Your witness.
Your Honor, we would like to call Ronnie to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Could you please tell the courtroom in which direction were you headed on the staircase?
Up the south stairs.
Up the south stair. Would that be the same staircase that the defendant and Mr. Boren happened to be on?
Yes.
Okay, what words exactly did you hear while you were on your way up the stairs?
Watch out, here he comes.
Do you know who said these words exactly?
No.
Okay, but you did hear these words. Okay, can you please tell the courtroom what type of guy is Mr. Boren?
A troublemaker.
Could you please say that louder?
A troublemaker.
And this is fact from past experience. He's a troublemaker.
Yes.
Okay, did you happen to see the defendant touch Mr. Boren?
No.
Okay. Is the defendant a guy that's sort of cool under pressure?
I don't know.
You don't know. So you're not really a friend of the defendant. So you're stating what you saw. Okay, and once again, I would like the courtroom to know, could you please tell them, did the defendant lay a hand on Mr. Boren?
No.
Thank you.
Prosecution, your witness.
You are a sophomore at Central High School. Yes or no? Could you speak louder, please?
Yes.
And you were on the south stairs.
Yes.
In your testimony, you said it looked as if Michael turned his head around to see who was behind him and just lost balance and fell. Did you say that or not?
I don't know.
You don't know if you said it or not?
No. I must have forgot.
Well, let me refresh your memory. You are under oath.
I know.
And that is perjury.
I know.
So you're willing to be put in jail for perjury?
I don't remember.
What has Mr. Bourne done for you to make the statement that he is a troublemaker?
Nothing. It's just from what I hear and what I know.
Has Mr. Bourne ever drawn a cartoon about you before?
No.
Has he drawn any about your friends?
No.
Were you and the Mr. Bourne friends at one time or just associates?
Nothing.
No further questions.
Defense is your witness, huh?
Your Honor, the defense rests. We would now like to give closing statements.
Dismiss him. Okay, you dismissed from the stand. Prosecution, you have a closing statement.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will you present it to the jury, please?
Your Honor, is it okay if I give my closing statement?
Go ahead.
You, the jury, you've heard the prosecution's weak case, if I may say. You must remember that the defendant, Mr. Jenkins, cannot be prosecuted if there is any reasonable doubt that he's not guilty. And I believe that the defense has provided a case for you in which you can honestly say that there is reasonable doubt to convict Mr. Jenkins. Just to refresh your memory, I will start off with the testimony of Mr. Guilford. Number one, he lied to the courtroom when he stated that he has only known the prosecutor for 3 years. They have been knowing each other since elementary. This was a way to try to convince you, the jury, that there was no friendship between them two. He is trying to lead you to say that he's dealing with facts when in actuality he's trying to help out a friend. Moving on. He did not seek approval from the newspaper advisor, Ms. Owens. This was the first time that this has happened. So by him not seeking approval, he went up on his own will and Mr. Boren's will to make a decision that was not in his hands. That's the second strike. Also, with Mr. Boren, he went with him to the hospital. Mr. Boren did not remember what happened when he awoke. But Mr. Guilford testified that he spoke with him, and after they talked for a little while, all of a sudden he remembered what happened. You see, what I'm saying is that Mr. Guilford had the story planned out in his mind, so he led the prosecutor, Mr. Boren, to believe what he wanted to. And that is all he knows because he stated that he did not remember. But after speaking with Bruce, all of a sudden it came to him. So you must ask yourself, does he really know, or is he going by what he heard? So are you going by hearsay? And also, the polygraph expert, she did not even know the procedure that was taken to perform the test. She stated that the test was not 100% accurate. She also stated that these tests are outsmarted on a daily basis. And the questions that she said that the defendant did not answer correctly, I want you to refresh your memory that she asked the question, did he see the cartoon drawing? He said yes. But in his testimony, he quite frankly said no. But Mr. Boren never denied writing the cartoon. As a matter of fact, he admitted to it. Question number 3. She asked him if any others were present besides he, Michael, and Bruce. And he also responded no. This question was not worded properly because he was not aware of the others around. He rushed down the stairs to see if Michael was okay. He was not aware of anyone else. That was not of his concern. And also, moving on to Michael. He told lies all over the place. Michael admitted to drawing the cartoon, first of all. He refused to talk to the defendant in private. And I want you to remember that the reasons why he did this is because he was afraid. In his testimony, he mentioned that he was afraid twice, and he mentioned that he felt threatened twice. When someone is afraid and threatened, they tend not to think straight. So he was moving at a frantic pace because it was stated by Mr. Guilford that they were running very fast in his testimony. It was stated by Mr. Boren that he was moving quickly. It was stated by Mr. Guilford and Ryan that they were moving very quickly. So he was not aware of what he was doing in the first place. So it is very, quite frankly, that he could have lost his balance. He did not take the defendant for what he was trying to do in the first place. In his mind, he felt that the defendant was coming to hurt him or to do harm to him, when in actuality, all Eddie wanted to do was to talk to him. I want you to recall Baby Doll Jones. At once, she and Michael were a couple, but then they no longer had any relationship. And do you know the reason why? It's because Michael became critical of her as well as others. Now, who would want to be with someone like that? And after that, I want you to recall that she started talking to the defendant, Mr. Jenkins. How did that make Michael feel? Michael became fatigued and aggravated. He was looking for something that he could do to Mr. Jenkins to get back at him. And what better opportunity than to point out his failures? He admitted it. He called the defendant a fool. He said that his point, the whole purpose behind the cartoon, was to point out the failure in Mr. Jenkins. Then you go to the key witness, and that's going to be Miss Owens. Michael stated that he was running down the stairs to go find Miss Owens. Yet she testified that he called her the day before and said that she was not going to be at school that day because she was in Dallas. She was sick. He knew this, but yet he lied in his testimony saying that he was running to go find Miss Owens. No, court, he was afraid. And when you are afraid, you do things that you are not aware of, and you tend to blame them on others. And also, I would like to call Lil Darryl. Lil Darryl was also a victim of Mr. Boren. Mr. Boren testified that he has never had a problem with someone complaining about his cartoons. But yet, Lil Darryl told the courtroom and testified that he had a problem. But Mr. Boren ran. He was afraid of him. And that is why he never knows the problems that he's causing. It's because he is afraid. And he tries to run away from his problem. Thank you.
Prosecution, can you give us your closing statement?
The prosecution asks for a recess.
Hi, I'm Kanika Hill, and I want to send a shout out to that class of 2000.
Hi, my name is Manira Orphan, and I'd like to send a shout out to that class of 2000 and all the varsity cheerleaders of the 98-99 school year. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Prosecution.
Court will resume Monday morning at the same time. This court is now closed.